welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Mr. Toots, and this is a revisit of Golgari Hexmage. This is a deck I played a few months back on the channel, also from Mr. Toots. It's built around Golgari Hexmage. Yeah, Vampire Hexmage. Golgari Hexmage is the deck, Vampire Hexmage is the card. 2/1 first strike, sacrifice this, remove all counters from target permanent. Generally speaking, when this card is in a constructed deck, it's paired with Dark Depths, a card that makes a 20/20 if you can remove all the counters off it, a 20/20 indestructible flyer. That's a quick and easy way to win a game. Dark Depths is not legal in Modern, but we have some smaller and equally cool things to do. The main combo is Invasion of Ikoria. Green X, Battle. When this enters, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less, put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. And then when you defeat this battle, which is defined as taking all the, what are they called? What are these counters? It doesn't tell me. The battle counters off it. Then you get to cast Zilrotha, Apex of Ikoria. This is an 8/8 reach for each non-human creature you control. You may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it were not blocked. So this is a 4 mana 8/8 from anywhere in your deck. Because you can tutor the Hexmage, immediately sack the Hexmage, take the counters off the battle, then you get Zilrotha. And when you defeat a battle, you get to do it immediately. So this 8/8 can arrive mid-combat. It can arrive in your opponent's end step, and then immediately start attacking. That's the fast mode. There's also the grinding mode, Overlord the Baelmerk. We see this interaction in top-tier Modern decks with Felia, primarily, where you impend Overlord, and then you blink it out, and it comes back, and it's ready to fight. Vampire Hexmage can remove the impend counters from it. Time counters is what they actually are, technically. And this is cool because Felia, you have to set up. Like, Felia has to come into play, then the Overlord has to come into play, then Felia has to successfully attack, and then Overlord blinks, and then next turn Overlord can attack. You can cast turn 2 Overlord, mill Vampire Hexmage, or just have it in your hand already. And then the next turn, play Hexmage, take all the impending counters off, and immediately attack with Baelmerk. So this is actually more aggressive than Felia is, because you get your Baelmerk attacking a lot sooner. Last time I played the deck, this is the thing I was most impressed by, the Hexmage plus Overlord business. And if you sack your Hexmage to take the counters off Overlord, then attack, then pick a Hexmage back up, you're ready to pop off another Overlord, or minus an invasion or whatever. Vampire Hexmage also does some random other stuff. Removing all counters from target permanent kills any planeswalker. It can set a Chalice of the Void to 0. Hexmage can reset a Saga back to 0 counters and it has to start counting over again. It can make a Psychic Frog 1/2 again, which is really interesting because Vampire Hexmage herself is a 2/1 first strike. If your opponent attacks with Psychic Frog, you block, put first strike damage on the frog, then sack Hexmage, it will die. There is no timing sequence in which your opponent can save the frog. There's also Emperor of Bones right here in the deck. The rules text of Adapt is when you activate the adaptability, if the creature doesn't have any +1 counters on it, then it adapts. Normally that means you activate it once and you can't activate it again because there are +1 counters on it. But Vampire Hexmage can pull the counters off Emperor of Bones so you could adapt it again and they get another shot out of it. Counters are everywhere in Magic, and I imagine just as we play these games, we'll find cool places to put them. Or remove them in this case. And let's do it. I love this style of deck. I think if I had a serious Modern tournament tomorrow, I would probably play one of the Overlord the Baelmerk Felia decks, probably the Esper version. This is just what I like to do in Magic, and it's good in Modern right now. And this is playing a lot of those same notes. Let's do it. I'm proud to announce the Gold Sabertooth Strikes Back Kickstarter. Until October 22nd, you can back the project for access to 10 playmats from one of Magic's favorite community artists. He's bringing back fan favorites Kinnan, Etali, Kenrith, and Urza in new fuzzy and foil treatments. plus 6 new mats featuring Amulet Titan and Eldrazi, plus 4 more to be voted on by you, the backers, which Gold Sabertooth will draw live on stream every Monday. Get 18 classic Gold Saber tokens available in foil for the first time. Get involved in the voting and claim your rewards by using my link in the video description to back the Gold Sabertooth Strikes Back Kickstarter today. I'm on the draw in round 1 with a hyper-interactive early hand. I've got Thoughtseize, 2 Fatal Pushes, and Overlord to start fueling, and the 2 lands to do it all. Exciting stuff. There is not a Dryad Arbor to get with Invasion of Ikoria. I don't think there should be. I think that is built correctly, but we do need to have at least one X equals 1 before that card does what we need it to. Unless, of course, there's just already a Hexmage in play, then you could just cast it X equals 0, 2 or nothing, and get your 8/8. Okay, a mulligan to 6 and a Hedge Maze. I'd like to know what you're doing. A basic swamp. I will use that, now that I have it. What are we working with? Shardless Agent, what is that doing? Oh, I guess rhinos are still legal in the format, huh? Okay, Leyline Binding, so this is domain rhinos, probably. Unless there's a better thing to get. Alright, I mean, I'm taking the Shardless Agent. That Leyline Binding is a little annoying for my Overlord, but it's likely to draw a card on the way in, and they have to fetch in a way that does this. And Invasion of Ikoria can tutor Haywire Might on the 3 mana that I now have locked up. Hey, another one. Okay, if Overlord misses here, it's a little disappointing, but if I can get a 2 for 1, I'm happy with it. I'd like to use the ability Emperor of Bones and Nethergoyf in there. I'll take the Bone Zone. And Nethergoyf's already 4/5. I actually could see an argument that I'm supposed to take Nethergoyf there and next turn go Overlord plus Nethergoyf and double up. Okay, this is 4 land types. They still need a swamp to get Leyline Binding to cost 1. Kept the card on top. I can actually grind through a can of rhinos. Breeding Pool. This is not domain, and their thing is not tapped. Or not untapped. They can Leyline Bind for 2 here. They have the mana. A 3rd Fatal Push. Alright, that's quite enough of those, I think. But Overlord could get back this Nethergoyf too. Yeah, it all still works. Alright, I am going to play my land and cast the 2nd Overlord. At some point, decking myself becomes a concern, but we're not there yet. Oh, Haywire Might. I really wanted to play Nethergoyf this turn, but that Haywire Might is my answer to that Leyline Binding. And now it's risky for them to Leyline Bind anything, because I'll get an Overlord trigger on the way back in. Okay, they just tapped mana, then changed their mind. And they can't wait forever, because the Overlords are, in fact, impending. There's the other Heath. Hardcast Subtlety is live now. There are 2 other unknowns in the hand. Bloodbraid Elf, let's go. Alright, it's party time. Birthing Ritual, that's what we're doing. Okay, so this is a very cool deck. Maybe this is more clear to people playing a lot of Modern than it is to me. I assumed Crash of Rhinos was coming out of this, but they're doing something different. Alright. In your end step, if you control a creature, look at the top 7 cards of your library, then you may sack a creature. If you do, put a creature into play from the 7 that is 1 or less. Yeah, I'm just going to Fatal Push the Bloodbraid Elf and make this not a part of the game. Overgrown Tomb, Fatal Push. They can't force a negation here because it's their turn. And I have this Haywire Might for their Birthing Ritual. The Bone Zone. Alright, I can't cast 2 spells here, unfortunately. I think what I gotta do is just to play this Haywire Might and pass. Because I don't care about the Leyline Binding if Birthing Ritual is killing me. And I don't care about Birthing Ritual if they don't have a creature in play. Seeing that Omnath and stuff, knowing their deck has that whole second gear, and it's pretty spooky. If at the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature. Okay, so this won't trigger if they don't control a creature. It's not like they could put the trigger on the stack, flash in Subtlety, and get around removal. We dodged that one. I'm not going to run Haywire Might into Combat Subtlety, or am I? Yeah, I'm going to attack. If they cast Subtlety here, I'll just kill the Birthing Ritual after blocks. And my main issue here is that they could just Subtlety my creature if they play it, or if I play it. I guess like that's going to be part of the game anyway. All right, Emperor of Bones, I'll put it on the bottom if they subtlety. And this means I'm going to have to exile the Birthing Ritual. Just signing up for a 2-for-1 never feels good, but I'm missing land drops and I'm not developing otherwise. So whatever. And my overlords are ticking down. We're working towards something here. All right, if they don't have a second Birthing Ritual, we're okay. All right, the domain is complete. A swamp has appeared. 5 mana in the pool. We've seen Quantum Riddler in their deck. Oh, change their mind. Subtlety is attacking me. They are passing priority into their end step, which means now it's time to destroy Birthing Ritual, which also means they have their whole main phase to cast different spells now. If they can just make a second Birthing Ritual here, there's nothing I could have done to play around that. Okay, cool. Well, what I could have done to play around that is not play the Emperor of Bones. Okay, now Fatal Push is online. Anyway, let's enter the Bone Zone together. At the beginning of combat, I'll exile that Bloodbraid Elf. That hits pretty hard. Something's happening in response. Some 5 mana effect. Solitude. Okay. I am just gonna let this happen. Like, I could gain 2 extra life here, but everything basically works out the same. I can still Fatal Push this Subtlety, and an Overlord's gonna stand up in the end step. They'll probably Leyline Bind on their turn, and I'm just trying to fade Birthing Ritual, I guess. Invasion of Ikoria does tutor from the graveyard as well. All right, we knew about that forever. Bye, Overlord, for now. It might be back next turn. Quantum Riddler, another 5-drop, and this is going to draw 2 cards because they are down to 1. Don't like that. They hit an untapped land that does cast Shardless Agent if they have that. Oh no, is it the nuts? This is going to draw 3 cards. This is kind of the nuts. They're not comboing off, but they are settling into grind here. They're going to have 4 cards in hand after all this. I thought I was doing well for a moment. God, I love Quantum Riddler. Even when I'm listening to it, gotta respect it. Gotta hand it to him. Right, Solitude's dealing some damage. End step, I will fetch the Surveil. Mortuary. Do I want land 5? I might be spending a lot of mana in the coming turn, so I will keep land 5. I don't think this game's going to be short from this point. And land drops are good when we're going long. I'm going to fetch first. Have to get Overgrown Tomb at this point. Right, Invasion of Ikoria, X equals 1. I would like Haywire Might back from my graveyard. And now I've got multiple pinch points. Second Overlord stands up. I can Haywire Might their binding, get Overlord back, which will trigger and be a 5/5. If they assemble a Birthing Ritual here, I could ping that instead. There are 2 Rizzlers in the Warp Zone. Another Solitude. All right, this is probably going to hit Overlord. Yep, that's fine. All right, no attack means they don't have Overlord covered. End step, get my Overlord back. Exile that Leyline Binding. I gain 2 life. Overlord triggers, which can get back Haywire Might. If not, something better. I've got Boggart Trawler, Haywire Might, and Netherglyph. It's still Haywire Might. I am now worried about how many cards are in my deck. I think a 1 of Endurance would go a long way to not deck yourself in games like this one, but having to get through these 2 Solitudes, the milling is not optional. I guess I just go to combat here. Attack you. I'm not worried about that battle. Eternal Witness, that's fun. I'm going to take Eternal Witness. Okay, no block. Eternal Witness can do what? Okay, there's another Overlord. I think I gotta chill on those. When the battle is defeated, it's cast Transform, not when it's destroyed, so Assassin's Trophying it isn't where I want to be. I can Thoughtseize them again. All right, I'm gonna go Eternal Witness, target Thoughtseize. I'm a mana short, though. I think I do want to know what's going on over there. All right, Thoughtseize is my target. Do I need a Thoughtseize now, or can I invest Haywire Might? There's no targets for Might right now. All right, I'll Thoughtseize. Wow, Crabomination! Okay, so they have multiple routes to the Birthing Ritual here, which is not great for me. I don't want them Crabominating. All right, I'll take that. And I guess I'll play this Haywire Might. They are gonna get to Birthing Ritual here, assuming that's their only hit from a dig. Like, Fatal Push just doesn't kill these 5-drops that I'm up against. Here comes Bloodbraid Elf. Going for the bigger one, because they could add Shardless Agent along the way. Alright, so Am I dead to whatever 5 or 6 drop they flip here? The second Birthing Ritual, so they get to go twice. Alright. Scary. But when your opponent suddenly draws 7 cards in the middle of a game that was otherwise close, this is what can happen. Okay, I'm going to block one of the Solitudes with Eternal Witness. That takes a 5-drop off the board. I don't know. Here we go at this point. F6. Have fun doing what your deck does. Sack the Bloodbraid Elf into Obsidian Charmaw. That can destroy one of my lands. That's not really for me, but it certainly works here. And do they have a 4 or a 6? Or is it X or less? It's X or less, so anything under 6 plays here. And another Rizzler good for 2 cards. Alright, I think my ability to win this game has passed. GG. That was sweet, though. That was a really good game. I feel like this deck in particular is horrific for me. Haywire Might, that was a MVP. Soulless Jailer. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. That does not stop Birthing Ritual. Pick Your Poison does answer Riddler, Leyline Binding, and Birthing Ritual, but all as a sorcery. It's probably still good enough. Shieldred's Edict can answer larger creatures at instant speed, which is pretty important. Yeah, that Fatal Push. It found like a few spots, but I did draw... I drew at least 3. I might have drawn all 4 that game. And I don't think that's where I want to be. Calling Ritual doesn't seem helpful. Surgical Extraction. If I destroy one Birthing Ritual, and I have Thoughtseize and Haywire Might that can do that, if I get a Birthing Ritual or a Cascader into the graveyard, I could see Surgical being useful here. Grist is kind of slow versus a deck as grindy as theirs. I can go 1 Grist. I can still tutor her if I want with Invasion. And I'm actually so worried about decking myself that I'm going to shave a Malevolent Rumble. Or maybe a Stothy Voidwalker. That doesn't seem important. Rumble does keep the deck rolling. Okay, here we go. 1 land, double Rumble. There are 21 lands in the deck. I can get 2 looks. And my fail case is I Thoughtseize them. Alright, I will try this. I'm going to get the Surveil, and I'm going to take a turn off Thoughtseizing because it's very important to hit. Their deck can't have cards that cost less than 2 in it if they're still on the Surveil strat, or the Cascade strat after board. Yeah. Alright, Overgrown Tomb on top. I'm going to Thoughtseize, then play Nethergoyf this turn. I want to know what's going on, and then I can sculpt my other decisions. Alright, there's a Birthing Ritual. I can bury that immediately. A Charless Agent could be another one on the following turn. But I definitely don't want 2 of them in play. And my opponent needs to find a land. Alright, I'll take Birthing Ritual. Overgrown Tomb, Nethergoyf. Dumped Elish Norn off of a Surveil. They're looking for land 3 over there. And they have this Surveil and this Rizzler to dig for it. Steam Vents. If they play this tapped, it means they drew a land. If they play it untapped, they might Quantum Riddle here. Yep. Yeah, they're just looking for that 3rd piece to start going. Come on, Surgical off the top. Can we get that payout? Pick Your Poison. I have to endure a turn. And I'm going to Rumble, and if I hit a black source, I can still play Overlord. Sweet. All right, Overgrown Tomb, or would I rather have Swamp and save the life? I think I would rather have Swamp and save the life. And then Overlord now. Free combat, in case it makes Nethergoyf bigger. Bogger Trawler, Eternal Witness. Eternal Witness could be Thoughtseize, or it could be Pick Your Poison starting next turn. Yeah, I'll take the Witness back and attack for 4. I had them under real pressure this game, which did not happen last game. I was on the grind plan and they outground me with those Rizzlers in the late game. Moment of truth. Shit. Okay, so they can flip a 4 or less drop off of Ritual this turn. Crabomination. I'm just looking at the cards in their deck. Alright, Birthing Ritual arrives. I can make them pick their poison as long as I'm not locked out with whatever this is. Like, their 4s that I've seen are Subtlety and Bloodbraid Elf. That seems kind of modest. Oh yeah, Omnath. We've seen that one too. That's still smaller than Nethergoyf. Seems crazy to say, but could be worse. Shieldred's Edict. That was the best draw in my entire damn deck. Alright. I'm going to have my opponent pick their point and sacrifice an enchantment of their choice. I'm going to give my opponent a lot of choices this turn. I do not have an instant in my graveyard yet. So if they don't block, I'll Edict. If they do block, the creature's dead anyway. All right, Solitude pitching Leyline Binding. An aggressive line, but okay. I guess this gains me an extra life, so I'll take it. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. After the Solitude's dead, of course. That would have been embarrassing sequencing. All right, I gained 5. And now it's up to the land for Bloodbraid Elf. If they can just keep the party going here, then I'm still in basically the same spot, though that was a really good turn for me. Shit. They're so good. Yeah, I think if you custom built a deck to beat mid-range grindy stuff, it would look like this. They even hit the double. Got the Shardless Agent alongside the Bloodbraid Elf and the Rituals back. How good would that Surgical have been, though, on turn 1? If I had Thoughtseize and then collapsed all of their action here. And I'm not saying like they're lucky I didn't draw it, it's just a 2-of. I'm just saying that I think that is the correct sideboard configuration if we're trying to collapse their deck, which I am, because I can't really beat them once they start doing stuff. They're getting a 4 or less Endurance. You do have that card. Target yourself. Yeah, they're like, go ahead, deck yourself, idiot. Yeah, good call. I have a Hexmage attack this turn. I'm not going to roll the dice on Malevolent Rumble. Wake up the Overlord. Get in. Hexmage, Nethergoyf. Nethergoyf is the thing with power and toughness here. All I can do is try to scam them with bigger creatures. Like, they are at 5. I have 2 lethal threats in play. They have their whole engine online. If they have a red, they can play this Charmaw, which is pretty big and kills one of my 3 lands. But if their hand is like goop, they're under real pressure. Omnath. Do they have the fetch land to go with it? Not a fetch land. It still gains 4 life, which is a lot when I was just talking about my Puncher's Chance is my only chance out of this game. Dump Shardless Agent. They have 7 looks at Solitude here. The Elish Norn is back in the mix. Though Elish Norn's on the bottom, they haven't shuffled. It's somewhere on the bottom of their deck. They can't hit her on this. There's also 1 of their Solitudes down there. All right, yep. That was the best card, and, you know, reasonably likely it would happen. Okay, I can pick the poison to get rid of Birthing Ritual and just park Nethergoyf in play. All right, fetch, shock. I just need good mana here. Target poison, sacrifice an enchantment of your choice, and if I attack with Goyf, they can double block with Endurance Solitude, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. No thanks. Charmaw, yep, that is castable. Losing one of my precious lands. Okay, no attack, no land drop. So their hand is all spells. That's information we have. I'd like to know what they are before I do anything else this turn. Thoughtseize you. Charmaw, Agent. Okay, so Agent, I can't beat any of these cards, but I think Solitude is the scariest one. All right, Rumble. Troll of Khazad-dûm hits my next land. There is a Boggart Trawler in my graveyard, though, if I want to grab this Overlord. Yeah, I guess it is Overlord. Surgical Extraction milled away. Crushingly. Yeah, I think the 3rd or 4th, I think it's the 4th. I Thoughtseized 1 and I killed 2. The 4th Birthing Ritual is going to get me. Although Obsidian Charmaw and flying me to death is also going to get me. Charmaw gets in. Another Overlord. All right, I'm racing to the bottom here. Overlord, trigger, get back the Trawler. So that's what I signed up for. I milled over a battle. Nethergoyf is 6/7 now. But now they have 2 4/4s to beat it. I am dead on board. Nothing I can do, but alright, GG's. That matchup seems really bad, but that deck seems really cool. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2. I am going to keep this hand. I know it has 5 lands in it, but one of them's kind of a spell, and Malevolent Rumble does a lot of work. And all the fetch lands are kind of spells too, if we count that towards surveil lands. The fetch lands are worth half a card, I think is a better way than saying they're a spell. Oh no, not this again. My trauma. At least if this is the same deck again, I won't be playing the first 3 turns of the match thinking that I have to beat Cascading Rhinos. Generous End. Okay, this might be Living End. Lush Portico. These are Cascade colors. Living End's really interesting versus my deck full of self-mill, if that is what they're doing. Okay, I'll get Underground Mortuary and hopefully mill a powerful creature. Nope, Overgrown Tomb to the bin. Now I have a really interesting choice. I could Rumble, which could hit a bunch of creatures and make Living End worse. And the spawn could cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm if they cast Living End. Or I could play Emperor of Bones and just chew up their Generous End. I'm going to do that. If this is Living End, they'll have both 4 Subtlety and 4 Force of Negation in the deck. Generous End's out. I also don't want to lock in too hard that it's Living End. Like, it could just be some other deck that has Generous End and some mana in it. But if they are just cooked by this Emperor of Bones, I'm into that too. Overlord of the Balemerc. I like that guy. I'm going to play Windswept Heath and go to combat. I'll take your Breeding Pool just in case. And do I want to attack into Endurance? I have Fatal Push available, so yes. And I can just make my creature a 4/4, so I have it beat multiple ways. Overlord. I get Grist the Hunger Tide back. I could have declined that, but I'm not completely confident that they're even playing Living End until I see another Cycler or something more obvious. And I want to make good fundamental Magic plays in case they are just Bant Control or something. Okay, for sure Living End. The maybe has become definitely. All right, in that case, I would have left Grist in my graveyard. All right, and they're clearly going for it here. Waker of the Waves, 2 Street Wraiths in the end step, and milled over an Endurance. All right, I got some work cut out for me here. I can fetch and cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm in response to a Living End, and then I at least have something on the board. I can Fatal Push Endurance. I can Grist to kill Waker of the Waves. All right, so they're evoking another Endurance. Clearly just going for it here. This is just a way to throw that card in your graveyard when it's going to come back anyway. Luckily, there's no creatures in my graveyard right now. That was a pretty aggressive Endurance, though. Like, they could have just cast Living End and put the... Oh god. What is this? Return target spell or non-land permanent opponent controls or its owner's hand. You may cast an instant sorcery spell from your hand with equal less. Okay, so the Living End is in their hand. I can't Besage you or do anything here. Alright. That's bounced. That's cool tech. Not seen that before. That's also an instant, a way to get Living End going on my turn. Alright, cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm in response, just so I got something here. I'll get basic Swamp. Yeah, I guess. None of this is great. These Street Wraiths are unblockable. The Waker of Waves is bigger than me. The Endurance would have cleared Grist, but I think with the instincts I had about what was going on, Grist was probably still right to just leave in the graveyard. Another land. Okay, does Overlording or Rumbling help me more here? Things I'm looking for include Assassin's Trophy. Neither one can get that. I could find Battle off of Rumble, but not off Overlord. I think that's too slow. They have 16 power in play, which is my life total. Unlucky. Rumble gives me a blocker and an easy way to get Revolt. Okay, I'm going to Rumble. Dauthi Voidwalker revealed. A little late to the party, my friend. I guess I want the stats of Nethergoyf more than I want anything else here. That's a 2/3 at the moment. How do I cast the most spells this turn? I think I Overlord. Or no, I need... What do I need? I could fetch Surveil. Yeah, I guess the spawn is blocking a 7/7 here. That's really useful on their turn. And Goyf will be 3/4 when we go to blocks. Oh, it can be more if I play fetch land. Okay, it's fetch land into Nethergoyf. So I have a 4/5 here. I have a 5/5, a 4/5, and a -1/1. And I have the ability to play Fatal Push. Okay. Not great, but also not the worst. The Street Wraiths are the ones I'm most scared of now. I can answer Grist with some other stuff that's going on. I do have to take 3. Maybe I was supposed to play basic Swamp there and save the fetch land. Or no, the fetch land was part of the Nethergoyf math. Right. Right. I could trade off Troll and Goyf. Troll or Goyf. Or Waker. Yeah, I'll be trading Troll for Waker here. Unless they have a bounce spell, which is totally reasonable and expected. Fetch. And because they didn't attack with the endurances, I don't need to get damage here. I don't need to cast Fatal Push. If they have another endurance or a bounce spell, combat's a huge blowout. Emperor of Bones, there is already a creature in my graveyard, and I actually quite like having access to the Bone Zone, especially if I think there's going to be a Waker of Waves in there. Alright, another endurance. We're extremely dead. Alright, GG. A tough game 1. The thing I could have really done there was leave Grist in the graveyard, but they had multiple endurances to cover it anyway. I actually like Toxic Deluge just fine. Soulless Jailer is so annoying here. Permanent cards can't enter from the battle. In graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Living End exiles the graveyard and then puts those creatures in from exile. Players can't cast 9 creature spells from graveyards or exile. Cascade doesn't exile, it reveals. So you're casting the spell from your deck, not from exile. Wait. Glad I looked it up. I did double check. It does appear that the language of Cascade is exile spells until you hit something, so maybe this does work. Alright, Soulless Jailer, you're in. I hope this works. Surgical Extraction. I'm more interested in Surgical for, like, Aussies take out Living End purposes than actually thinking this will be good enough to stuff a Living End, because as we saw, I exiled a creature from their graveyard, passed the turn, and then they put Waker, Wraith, Endurance in their graveyard, all in my end step, then untapped. Like, Surgical cost me 2 life to save 6 or 7 life there. Probably still worth it, but I don't think it's good. Fatal Push almost completely pointless. The one thing I can do is kill my own creatures in response to a Living End, but Childred's Edict can find a home there better. Grist, again, very slow for a combo matchup. Haywire Might, I don't think matters at all. They did unfortunately see my one of Dothy Voidwalker get mill passed. Alright, here we go. I'm trying this. There is a Bogger Troller here. Alright, I will keep this actually. This does have creatures that make their way to lands. I'll keep. And this is not a deck I need a Thoughtseize on turn 1. I'm going to play Boggart Bog untapped, and then cycle Troll probably for a Surveil land, and then Thoughtseize them, and then try to really make it happen the turn after. So if they mill over a creature here, I might just get an untapped land and go in the Bone Zone. But Ardent Plea gone. I don't like them binning Cascaders. That means they're set up anyway. Soulless Jailer. Well, there's that guy. Thoughtseize you. Remove whatever would answer Soulless Jailer. Alright, I'm rereading Cascade. When you cast a spell, exile cards from the top of your library. Okay. They are actually in exile. Great. Okay, Subtlety, Striped Riverwinder, Ardent Play, Shardless Agent. It is Subtlety for sure. Alright, Subtlety's gone. Underground Mortuary. Troll of Khazad-dûm. That is my next land. I was just trying to hit my next land drop, and I'll take it. Cycling Wraith. I don't think there's a way in Modern to generate a mana here and cascade a turn early. These decks have a Gemstone Caverns in them sometimes, but that opportunity has come and gone. Right, cycle Big Troll. Get Overgrown Tomb. This isn't really going to be about life total. They're either going to smush my life away completely, or they're not. They don't have blue to cycle the Winder or the Waker right now. They would have had to have found a second Subtlety exactly. They could also have stuff like Foundation Breaker, Force of Vigor. It's not like they can't do anything here. But missing blue is actually a big deal, knowing their hand. Every single thing in their hand, even the cyclers, is blue. Hope to sage you. Yep, got me. Well, I hope they don't top deck a land. I will get another Mortuary and try to spike another creature into my graveyard. Verdant Catacombs. I do not need that. I mean, if they just jam Shardless Agent here, I have Troll, Soulless Jailer coming back, and they just have Subtlety Street Wraith. This isn't even that good. They should probably take a turn setting up. Though they know I have Graveyard Hate in my deck, so it's like it's not free either way. A forest. Okay, I can battle for up to 3 now. I think Emperor of Bones is better than Dothy Voidwalker, because Bones at least gets something right now. And I could even rumble into Bones. That's the way to do it. I'm gonna rumble first. Another Soulless Jailer, you don't say. Alright, I'll take that one. And I'll cast Soulless Jailer. They'll probably Waker in response looking for Subtlety. And I can still enter the Bone Zone here. Okay, Bone Zone, and I'm going to exile Street Wraith, because that's the one I'm most scared of. Street Wraith into exile. Okay, so they got some work to do over there. Their hand not currently any good, but they can start waking into cycling and figuring out a way out of this. Mistrized Village, cool innovation as well. This card's not new anymore, but I just haven't seen Living End since then. Waker of the Waves hit a Curator of Mysteries. And because I'm holding the Hexmage already, I could invade for a 1-drop and then also get my battle online. Like I could just do both. Though I think I boarded out my only 1-drop. Nope, I got Nether Glyphs. I got lots of Nether Glyphs. They cycled Riverwinder, then missed a land drop. It's looking good, team. Oh, another Bone Zone. I am going in. This is my favorite zone. All right, exile Striped Riverwinder with that one, and Waker of Waves with this one. He's exiled at the end of turn, right? Sacrifice, or it comes in with a finality, then sacrifice it. Yes, so it does get exiled, which means I can take a big swing with Waker of Waves here. Okay, I'll attack for 11. Okay, so they're dead next turn. There could be some risk of putting these in, like if they have Brazen Borrower and they bounce the creature, then it's not exiled and they have access to it again, but they're under so much pressure and don't have blue mana right now that that's not something I'm going to pause for. All right, so we're pitch casting Endurance, targeting me. Have they threaded the needle here? If they can kill Soulless Jailer, then they actually are doing pretty good, though Vampire Hexmage plus Invasion of Ikoria does, in fact, kill them on the backswing, because I have a 8/8 that deals damage like it's not blocked. But they have to, with their 3 mana, kill Soulless Jailer and then Cascade. It's like pitch cast Solitude and then Cascade could do it. All right, Shardless Agent, Living End, entered the exile zone, and Shardless Agent's there to block. All these cards are on the bottom of the deck, and opponent is Dobbs. Beginning of combat, I want the one who can still do stuff to exile Curator of Mysteries, and I want the other one to exile Endurance. And then I'm going to put a Striped Riverwinder into play. And this is an attack for 8 through the blocker. They're blocking. And dead. Cool. That was actually really satisfying back and forth magic, considering I'm playing against a busted combo deck. Did I see anything that would make me change how I want to live my life? I don't think so. They know I have Jailer in addition to Emperor and Voidwalker, which they saw game 1. They know I have a ton of self-mill. They still haven't seen me do invasion stuff. I think they saw invasion. Did I mill one over game 1? Or am I still remembering match 1? I just remember Netherglyph being insanely huge at one point. I think that was last round. Meathook Massacre. It would cost me 6 mana to reasonably kill like the Wraiths and Endurances out of their deck with this. And then Curator of Mysteries dies there too. Subtlety. They do have 6s, 5s, and 7s in there, but I'm not thinking about killing those. I'm just trying to find any edge, any card that could be useful if things don't go quite my way. I'm on the draw now where everything gets harder. 6 mana. If I can slow them down long enough, that doesn't seem that outrageous. I don't think that's gonna get where I want to go. I thought about it really hard, but I don't think it's better than like the Netherglyph that I would cut to bring it in. Netherglyph applying quick pressure underneath the other stuff we're doing over top of it could matter a lot. Netherglyph can also be cast immediately out of the graveyard with escape after they Wrath me with a Living End. Oh no, alright. I do have Dothy Voidwalker, but I have to use Boseiju to cycle Troll to get there, but Boseiju cycling Troll casting Malevolent Rumble is a lot of graveyard action. I could just draw a swamp. Make this easy. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have that now. Fetching a Surveil land is exciting to me because that means they're not cycling a creature with that 1 mana instead. It's floated a mana, then cycled Street Wraith, so they probably have a Generous End here as well. And cycling Street Wraith before you cycle Generous End means they're trying to draw lands, I think. Or maybe they clicked on the wrong card. Okay, yeah, there goes the Generous End. Sure. Lush Portico, found another End. All right, yeah, this is the problem with Voidwalker. It just doesn't matter. Like, I could play that right now. It's turn 2, but they still have all that power in there. I'm going to get Overgrown Tomb here and cycle my Troll. I think that's the fastest way to the future. Get Basic Swamp. I have Functionally Basic Forest in my hand as well to go with it. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I drew Soulless Jailer. I'll cast that one. That one actually does impact the board. I know they have answers to it in their deck and stuff, but I'm trying here. Skin of my ass. Portico. That means they're not going for it this turn. I can rumble into a Bone Zone or a second Jailer. That would be pretty good. Ooh, they dumped a Living End. Now if I rip Surgical, their deck doesn't work anymore. Foundation Breaker. All right, good stuff. I'm a mana short of Overlord recovering Soulless Jailer. I'm a mana short of Invading. I can rumble into it though. All right. I'll play Besage as a land and play Rumble. And hit the other Jailer. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. How many answers to this are you packing right now? And now I'm at the point. So creatures, permanent cards, and graveyards can't enter the battlefield. So I can't invade for my second Soulless Jailer back because of my own first Soulless Jailer. Played a fetch land when we know they're holding Breeding Pool. Oh my goodness, that one's good. Yeah, that one actually rules. I'm going to cast Boggart Trawler just as Boggart Trawler. We're in there. Take those out. They do have that bounce spell. If there's a second Living End in the hand, Endurance is just targeting yourself with Endurance so those cards aren't gone, or targeting me as a reset. Okay, targeting yourself is fine. Exile nothing, but the point is they're gone, and they're still gone. Fetch, shuffles, all that stuff that they just bottomed back into the pool of cards that could be drawn. Foundation Breaker being the most important of them. Kept a card on top. And now with the 1-2 punch of Boggart Trawler into Dothy Voidwalker, clearing their graveyard, then locking out future graveyard is actually useful. And they did rip the Foundation Breaker number 2. But now I can invade Ikoria and get that back. Breeding Pool, shocked it in. Okay. Well, they must plan to cycle something. Endurance is bigger than Trawler at this point. I'll get a Surveil land here. I kind of do want to land. I'm going to start spending a lot of mana in the near future. And another Surveil could be good. I still think Soulless Jailer is the guy. It's not an avatar. It is a Phyrexian Golem. We love a Golem. Bosh fans, stand up. I think overlording it back is better than invading Ikoria to get it. I'll get Soulless Jailer back. Replay Soulless Jailer. The third one of the game. And when Living End gets grindy, like they're at 5 mana, they can start casting Striped Riverwinders and Curators of Mystery and stuff. You do have to watch out for the Draft Chaff phase of the game. They cycled that one. Not quite ready to cast a 7-drop, but they're getting close. Generous End, we're basically there. Yep, Shocked End land number 6. There it is. We're in the draft cards phase of the game. But I got draft cards too. Make no mistake. Oh, I can't cast Invasion of Ikoria. Or it's a creature on the other side, so Soulless Jailer does work. Can't cast non-creature spells. The backside of this is a creature. Okay. Yeah, I think here I just line up all the obvious blocks. Block the 3/4 with my 0/4. Trade off the small guys. I have another Surveil land still in my deck. Mortuary. Forest. Is there a 4 I'd like to get with Invasion? Or no, but I would like to double spell. All right, put Forest on top. Just going to read this for the 10th time. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. So tutoring from my deck is still fine. Players can't cast non-creature spells from exile. this is a creature on the back. I think this does everything I want. I'd invade for 2. I'll search my library, because that's the legal one. Vampire Hexmage, then cast Dothy Voidwalker. And I can generate an 8/8 whenever I feel like it at this point. Cycling Street Wraith into the Void. They're now dead on board. I guess they were dead on board anyway because of Shadow. And Subtlety works on the back half of Invasion. Casting Curator of Mysteries. We've got a 4/4 flying, 1 card left in hand. Oh, the food is in play. Do I play around a bounce spell, or do I block, then sack? Like, I could just block Generous End. It doesn't trample. Guarantee I don't take that damage. I don't think I care about that damage. Alright. Target Invasion. I would like to cast this without paying its mana cost. 8/8's in play. Block your 5/7, block your 3/4. I have 11 damage on the board. They have 13 life showing. Overlord of the Balemark. Does that change anything that's going on? Yes, it does. That's 5 extra damage. All right, Overlord. Get back Hexmage. Hexmage. Wake up the Overlord who's ready to fight. And then this is a lethal attack. Bang. Nice. All right, that was a lot of fun. This showcased basically everything that this deck can do in that match. On to the next one.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I am on the play in round number 3. I do have 3 lands in this hand, even though there's only 1 land in this hand. I'm gonna keep, and I think I'm just gonna take the 5 to Thoughtseize on 1. Modern's not as fast as Legacy, but I've gotten in the habit of just, what do you got? Let me see. Especially turn 1 in the blind. My goodness, this deck again. Alright, well, how do I want to attack this time around? I can Fatal Push Bloodbraid Elf. I have the Haywire Might, which helps. Shardless Agent pitches to Subtlety. Solitude is kind of the biggest dickbag in their hand. I think I just want to make their hand as slow as possible and take Shardless Agent. That's their blue card for Subtlety, and it's their cheapest payoff. Edge Maze in there. Crazy Art Bloodbraid Elf. This is an extremely skinny elf. I don't need to represent Haywire Might until next turn. In fact, it's probably better if I hold off. I'm just going to Rumble. Grist, Bone Zone, Verdant Catacombs. It's probably Grist. What does the Bone Zone do? It applies pressure faster. Yeah, it might actually just be the Emperor. And that lets me do 2 things next turn as well. Grist being 3 means Haywire Might plus Activate is 2, Grist is 3, that's 5 mana, but I only have 4. Oh, Grist anyway. Played around it. So this is actually sweet, because I can play Grist here and still beat Shardless Agent with a Fatal Push, if they have top decked a Shardless Agent since the last time we talked about it. Plus Grist. I think the only other bug in my deck has already been milled. Not going to get to here. Oh no, there's a bug. There's 3 bugs in the deck, but they're all accounted for. Red mana. Working towards that Domain, working towards that Bloodbraid Elf. Dumped an Obsidian Charmaw. That's bold, knowing that I have Emperor of Bones in my hand. Like, I can kill one of their lands this turn. I did not know about that Windswept Heath either, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 unknown in there. I'd like to Surveil here, but I think I'm going to cycle Troll instead. This 4 mana is a important number if I can enter the Bone Zone. Swamp plus Grist. And I will deploy the Bones. Beginning of combat, target Obsidian Charmaw. If they want to kill Emperor before this happens, they have to Solitude it now. Solitude pitching Solitude. Cool. Alright, we got them on the hook for that one. Charmaw is still in exile in case that matters. And I have maintained my Haywire Might activation. I now know their whole hand. They can't Subtlety, Haywire, Might, but they can't Subtlety, Haywire, Might, period. There is no and. Okay, pass. And that Charmaw Mill bought me a lot of action this game. My Haywire Might would have lost to that Solitude play otherwise. Hallowed Fountain chucked in. BBE. Hit the bonus. The multiplier. And there's Ritual. Ritual's in. I'm just going to hit that now. Or no, I could block first. No, that's so much better. There is a 3-2 haste coming down. Block the Bloodbraid Elf and then kill the Birthing Ritual. Ka-chow. Alright, now Grist has to beat 5 power plus Subtlety in hand. And future Cascades are bad news. Boo, boo. Alright, I could just use Grist to kill Bloodbraid Elf. Try to stabilize this board. And then I could Fatal Push Shardless Agent. But plussing Grist also is pretty good. Alright, Verdant Catacombs and plus Grist. That milled a battle. If they have another Birthing Ritual right now, I could pick off their 4-drop. God dang. No, I can't. Alright. Well, I hope they get too aggressive in combat here, and I can meaningfully impact what creatures they have access to. They're attacking Grist with the elves. I'm going to fetch Mortuary. Fatal Push. Ugh, is that even enough anymore? Probably not, because I can't get reliable Revolt here. And I'm going to kill both of these Bloodbraid Elves now, but I know they have Subtlety in hand. Alright, I'm going to try to actually do something here. Alright, double block one of these, Fatal Push the other one. Hope whatever 4-drop they flip doesn't kill me, but it's in a deck with Omnath. There's no good news. There's only 4 creatures in my graveyard for Grist's Ultimate. Unfortunately, my opponent's at more than 4 life. I found one. Subtlety, okay. They're just working up the chain that is a slightly bigger creature with a relevant combat word. Boseiju, my goodness! Alright, the game is afoot. Okay, I am going to sacrifice my insect to kill the Subtlety. And Underground Mortuary. Dump Overgrown Tomb. I just need some engine card and we're back. I haven't even milled over another Goyf passively here with all of the rumbles and grists and whatever. Just haven't hit an action piece. Well, unless they draw a better creature, or in this case a worse creature, they'll probably just play Subtlety and try to get the chain rolling. Unless they want to play Control. Okay, Shardless Agent. Well, they're going to have 2 of these stupid things in play now. Hate that for me. That was a pretty good draw. I still have to take out one of them, though. I can't let them just get straight up to 5. Sucks, but okay. Alright, let's Fade Omnath. How about that? Or they could get an untapped land and flash in Subtlety here and have 5s available too. Yeah, 5 was available either way, but at least this one cost them their Subtlety, I guess. Right, they decided to just hold the Subtlety. That makes way more sense. Another one. Non-stop Subtleties. I need a real banger. That's probably not it. I'll draw a card with Nurturing Peatland. I think I'm going to tap green to do that. Black seems more important here. Rumble. That is one of the better draws I could have. Rumble. Because this represents 2 things. All right, Nether Goyf goes to the graveyard here. That's money. I'll take Overlord. And I'm going to impend this guy. I know they have that Subtlety. They could cast it. My plan is to sack my spawn to Grist kill the other one of the Subtleties. So I gotta put this on top, fade for a turn. I put on top, Grist minus, sack my spawn, kill one of these. Yeah, halfway through my deck without milling over a 4 of until now with the Nether Goyf. Like the same game if I'm chipping for 3 per turn. I mean, it would be way more than that. I have 7 card types in my graveyard at this point, but if I had early in shipping for 2 or 3 a turn while this otherwise exact same game was going on, obviously it's very different. Oh boy, the top deck Omnath. Now we're slugging it out. I would still feel not too bad here, except for the Birthing Ritual. Grist finally dies. She did a lot. And how messed up are we? Quantum Riddler, drawing 2 cards, hit the full max on that one. I am very good at grinding this game to a spot where Quantum Riddler's online. Okay, Overlord, impend it. I can't afford to tap out for it. We have in our pool Haywire Might. That one feels a little slow at this point, but might be necessary. Vampire Hexmage can wake up the Overlord. I don't really want to get Crabominated. Whatever, I'm cooked anyway. I'm not beating this board by exiling their Birthing Ritual. They just drew 3 cards as well. I'm going to park this Hexmage and hope I can get a good exchange somewhere. This Overlord can't attack right away. It still would have Summoning Sickness if it were to wake up this turn. Okay, I'm dead to Solitude here anyway, so I'm going to try to get a combat trade. Yep. Okay. You got me. Once again, the 3rd Birthing Ritual got it done, so I am putting up a fight somewhere. Right, Abrupt Decay hits Ritual. I don't think I brought that in last time. Maybe I should have. Pick your poison. Haywire Might. I still feel the Surgical's correct. Toxic Deluge could catch me up if I'm behind. I just don't want to be behind, though. Like, I don't want to play a game where I'm behind. I want to play a game where I'm doing what I do, but also take out the Birthing Rituals. Still think Fatal Push is bad. Dauthi Voidwalker doesn't matter. Shieldred's Edict. I think I am supposed to have that one in. I did it last time. I'll do it again. I don't need 3 Hex Mages, because one of the cards tutors for them and the other digs for it, but does other stuff too. Eternal Witness can build a loop where, or at least an interaction, not really a loop, where I can mill past Surgical, then like Rumble and Overlord can take Witness, but they can't take Surgical or Abrupt Decay. Emperor of Bones was like kind of okay, I guess. If I cut too many creatures, though, Overlord stops working. Okay, one of the Grists. Okay, this hand is set up to actually take them off the ritual for the whole game. I can Besage it, then Surgical it. The line is there. Let's see what a game looks like where they don't have the access to that card, but otherwise are still playing a pretty grindy, control-y deck. Overgrown Tomb, Cycle Troll. I need the Besage, so I can't rely on that to be a land. We get Swamp. And Overlord can pick up the Troll at minimum here, even if it misses elsewhere. Nethergoyf Troll. I would actually like Troll back. Keep hitting my land drops. The busted combo. The starting turn after next, or starting next turn, I'm going to have to hold up the Besage. Not ideal. Zagoth Triome into play tapped. Haywire Might, okay. That gives me a little wiggle room. This is Domain, though, so I don't actually have any wiggle room. Never mind. Disappointing. I'm going to cycle that Troll of Khazad-dûm again. I'm going to get basic Swamp. I'm trying to hide that I have a play. Like, I need 2 mana to make the play that I have, but if I get Overgrown Tomb and shock it in, then they know I have something. Okay, that's gone. That's fine. Haywire Might will bring it back next turn. Glad I didn't tap out for Haywire Might, thinking that was going to be good enough here. Now it's actually kind of important that they go for it, for me to be able to breathe and then cast my spells comfortably without getting comboed out. They're passing the turn. I could Besage the Binding and just go to town here. All right, I actually am going to do that, and I'll rely on Haywire Might to do the work outside of this. Like, if they had just gone for it there, then I Besage, I Surgical, then we settle in to grind. But if they're hitting land drops and being patient, then I want to put them under pressure to make them make a mistake or make a play that they're not ready to make. I'll get back Troll of Khazad-dûm again, keep hitting those land drops. By hook or by crook. I hit a land anyway, which means I don't have to troll right away. I'm going to go to combat. If they have another Leyline Binding, I want to flush it out before, before I play the Haywire Might. All right, that's over there now. I have this land, and that was in the, they didn't quite go to combat there, so we're still in the main phase. Emperor of Bones doesn't really matter here. Vampire Hexmage doesn't matter here either. We might respect the Emperor, just out of necessity. All right, I'll cast Emperor and see if this flushes out a removal spell. It shouldn't, it doesn't matter, but I'm not doing anything else. I'm going to take Flooded Strand out of their graveyard, because Leyline Binding, I guess, conceivably something I could target with Surgical. Okay, we're getting a fetch in response. Temple Garden, untapped. Interesting. There's no attack here. And I'm going to fetch Shock now, because I'm doing that anyway, and I don't want to give them a window where my fetch land could let them kill Haywire Might where I can't activate it. Endurance confirmed. Blowing up my graveyard, that's fine. The Seiju's now back in the mix. Back in my deck somewhere. This Haywire Might can kill the Leyline Binding, Overlord comes in, triggers, immediately gets back Haywire Might. So if they don't Birthing Ritual here, then I just have the same position next turn. Bloodbraid Elf, there's a Birthing Ritual coming. Unfortunately, Haywire Might... Oh, right, they have Endurances in their deck now. Okay. I wonder if the rituals are out. Is that part of this deck's construction, or did they just think Endurance is worth having wonky sideboard for? Alright, no attacks because they know the Overlord is there. And guess what? The Overlord is there. I gain 2 life, I get Overlord, who at minimum gets back Haywire Might. I'll take it. Haywire Might, the lock. Thoughtseize, yeah, alright. Show me your secrets. Quantum Rizzler, give me that shit. Alright, that'll be in the Bone Zone. They've got Subtlety and Island in hand. Exile Quantum Rizzler. Attack with Overlord. I think I want the 4-4 and the 4-6 back on defense. Get back a Nethergoyf here. Finally one of those. We'll see its impact on this game very soon. Do they want to trade an Endurance for Overlord? They probably should. Okay. They want to race. Second main, Cycle Troll. I still have Overgrown Tombs in the deck. Overgrown Tomb, blast it, and I could Haywire Might in case they spike Ritual this turn. I could Nethergoyf and Might, but then I can't Bone Zone. But I don't think I need to Bone Zone if I cover everything else. Like, Nethergoyf is my Bone Zone here. It's just a 4-power creature. And I know their hand. There's the island. They could attack me for 5 successfully here. I would not block with my creatures that aren't Nethergoyf. Another Thoughtseize. This is very likely to just get the Subtlety into play and miss on something else. Still going to cast it. Let's get the Subtlety into play. There's Subtlety, and show me a land or a Prismatic or a Leyline Binding. Just some other shit that doesn't get Thoughtseized. Yeah, land, sure. I could Surgical their Flooded Strand. That would do it. Interesting true story here is that if I play Hexmage and Surgical, then Quantum Riddler draws 2 cards. I don't think I needed to do that. Nope, I'm just gonna Quantum Riddler right now. I am at 10, they're at 11. I get to draw a card. Ooh, battle. That works with Hexmage next turn. So if I attack for 9, 13, 17, my biggest creature is 5, I'm still attacking for 12, so they have to block 2 of these creatures. And all of my creatures are bigger than all of theirs. The best they could do is 6 power coming back my way, and I have a blocker. Exile, Leyline Binding from the graveyard now. Attack, 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 attack. Overlord happens. Nethergoyf is slightly bigger now, and I will put another Nethergoyf in my hand. That's a huge blocker. Alright, they're lining up double blocks. You might as well. Okay. So I'm going to kill Subtlety, not Endurance here, because I'm more worried about the flying. And I'm going to kill Endurance here because it's just the bigger creature. Opponent's at 3. I got mad blockers. I can use the Hexmage to adapt the Bone Zone again next turn and hit them with a Subtlety if they're not ready for that, or with my own Overlord of the Baelmerk. Okay, so I have a 1000 IQ play here that I am going to take, which is Surgical Extract Flooded Strand, because I know that's what's in their hand, and Fetchland plus Omnath is a lot of juice. I'll take that, I'll take that. Birthing Rituals are still in the deck. That's good news to have. Okay, so their hand is empty. If they hit a different Fetchland off that and bust off, then at least they don't have a spell. Like, Fetchland into spell is what I was worried about there. Okay, it is now my turn. And the Invasion trick is just lethal, right? Yeah, alright. Invasion's just lethal. Is Forest still in my deck? It is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Defend this battle. There's a Hexmage in my graveyard, but there's one in my hand as well. Would I rather grab something from the library? No. I'll just get Hexmage out of the graveyard. And I'll play another Hexmage just in case. Exile Subtlety from your graveyard and attack with everybody. None of these are humans. This Leyline Binding is a card that saves them here. They're still in trouble, but they're not literally dead if it's Leyline Binding. Zolothra is on the stack. All my creatures have Super Trample. Deal the damage, deal the damage, deal the damage. Ka-chow, -8. Rocks to your world. Okay, so that's what a game looks like where they don't have Birthing Ritual. I liked that game. That one felt like I was competing on a comparable, if not more powerful axis, though the Omnath Elemental entire aspect of the deck still hangs. I don't think there's anything in my sideboard I would like differently. Yep, here we go. On the draw, this is pretty slow. It does kill the first Birthing Ritual, and my deck is pretty good at grindy if it has its mana under it, which this hand does. I love Thoughtseize. Overlord, alright, take it. Yeah, Nethergoyf's really good in this deck. Great job, Mr. Toots, just playing 4 of those. I would be pretty happy with this game, even if I had a 0-1 Nethergoyf in play right now. I would like that I did literally anything on turn 1, and having Goyfs plus Thoughtseizes in a deck where there's a ton of action at 2. A tapped land. Okay, so here the question is, how bad is it if they go Shardless Agent into Birthing Ritual? Like, it's not Splinter Twin. They could just, like, get an Omnath into play or something, and then I have to deal with that. But I'm not gonna refuse to play the game over it. I will take Nethergoyf over Eternal Witness here, because that gives me the ability, like I was just describing, to add real power to the board and fight over Birthing Ritual with my 3 mana. If they just don't have it here, I'm in great shape. If they do have it, we have some work to do, but we both have engines going. Ooh. This is probably Endurance then. This doesn't mean their hand doesn't have a path to Ritual. It just means that it might be on Bloodbraid Elf. Okay. I'm going to play Nurturing Peatland again to hide the possibility, or hide the how obvious it is that I have a spell. Like if I Shocking Overgrown Tomb just like last game, it's very clear that I have something to do with 2 mana, and they're less likely to shove into it. Endurance is pretty messed up versus Nethergoyf. It's the Goyf that cares about only you. Okay, it's not Endurance, or this doesn't mean they don't have Endurance, it just means they didn't cast it this turn. Leyline Binding, who's this worried about? Alright, still worried about Overlord. Cool. I can trophy that, same as anything else. Anything that answers Ritual answers this. That's not even true, I have Abrupt Decay. That was almost true. Alright, are the Endurances still in the deck after... Okay, top card of the deck was Birthing Ritual, it's right in. And I would absolutely rather not play against Birthing Ritual. They're not going to attack because they have a bigger creature. Right, second main, Trophy the Writ. I don't like ramping this deck either, but they're also ramping with Birthing Ritual. They're getting like 5 and 6 mana a turn instead of 1 for every turn. Basic Plains even casts Leyline Binding here, if they're interested in that sort of thing. Yeah, all right. We're back in the Merc. I love Merkin, straight up Merkin it. All right, Overlord of the Bale Merc. I would love if this hits Haywire Might. There's only Eternal Witness in there. Complete whiff on that one, but Eternal Witness for Abrupt Decay is a slow line. I'll zap in Overgrown Tomb, and I'm going to play Hexmage, then attack. I don't have counterplay here anyway, so bluffing it doesn't make a lot of sense. I would absolutely trade Nethergoyf for Endurance plus green card here. If they block, then bomb my graveyard. Deal. Alright, 5 cards in hand over there's a lot. Their deck's full of good cards. We'll see where this goes. I don't have the Surgical to cut out the Birthing Rituals this time around. Flooded Strand, that means they're not playing Omnath this turn if the land came first. Vampire Hexmage has First Strike. They didn't forget. Children's Edict. That card is not bad. I'm going to get a basic Swamp with Troll and just get that in the mix. I'm going to attack with both creatures. Endurance is good for them here, but I have removal. I have an instant. I can get an instant and a creature in the graveyard whenever I want, and a land, so it's actually not even that bad. Solitude, of course, will be pretty good, but that's always going to be good no matter what. And who this goes after is pretty interesting. All right, going for the big one. There's an instant in my graveyard already. Yeah, making this any bigger in response doesn't make any sense. If they double block here and I get a Sheoldred's Edict plus First Strike Massacre, that would be sick. All right, that didn't happen. All right, second main. Who is my Huckleberry? I could Eternal Witness and pick my poison, or make them pick their poison. That's nice, actually. Eternal Witness, let's go. They've had multiple chances to Endurance me and haven't done it yet, so I'm going to just play like that card's not part of it. Each opponent sacrifices an enchantment of their choice. Going back into the Veil Merc. And they didn't Birthing Ritual last turn when they could, so I'm just going to act like they don't have it. Haywire Might, bank that one, and pass. I have a second Overlord that can stand up if I need it to. And yeah, like Birthing Ritual, if it flips into a Crabomination, could, if it gets a good hit, could be nice. Like another Solitude, I think I can grind through. Eilish Norn would be pretty bad for me, not gonna lie. I would have to kill every other creature and then Edict her. Or draw Grist. Alright, Endurance is still in the deck. That means that Bloodbraid Elf doesn't even deterministically hit Birthing Ritual if they have Bloodbraid Elf. Chargerless Agent probably still goes straight there. A land, 3 cards left. Leyline Binding. It's probably going to take the Overlord who's awake already. But they know I have Haywire Might in my hand because I just put it there. If they attack, I want to have a showdown. Like, I'm not going to hide my Overlord from a second Solitude or something. If they go into combat here, I am standing up my other Overlord. Okay, not interested. I drew Boseiju, that's another banger. Banger after banger after banger. Haywire Might, get in there. Okay, we're going to have a Subtlety here. I think I would like to Edict now. Sacrifice a non-token creature of your choice. It's going to be Bloodbraid Elf, but let's get rid of it. All the same. Haywire Might can go on top of my deck. Belmerk will just pick it right back up immediately. Put it on top. Hexmage, wake up the boy. Leyline Binding in response. Okay, so I have to use my Boseiju here. And I have to use it proactively. The thing never leaves the way that Boseiju works. Or the way that Binding works. So it doesn't like leave then come back. I want to attack with it here, not attack with it. All right, top deck mode versus ready to cook Engines Online. They do have some really messed up top decks in their deck though. Whether they want to trade their whole board for Overlord here is interesting. I think that they can't because of Birthing Ritual being in the mix. I'm going to buy back Haywire Might. Keep that loop going. All right, opponents at 7. I'm all in. Don't rip a sicko right now. Like, Birthing Ritual has to come in and then flip into a banger. They're tapping mana very quickly. Omnath gets a draw. Lands are life buffers. Okay, so that's 4 life on their turn and 4 life on mine. I don't think they need a burst of mana this game. Subtlety is likely to attack. Yep. I've been sitting on this Emperor of Bones for my entire life. Thoughtseize, Irel. Alright, who's in here? Logger, Trawler, no thanks. Hexmage, probably no thanks. Right, Emperor of Bones. Get in there. Opponent has a Bloodbraid Elf in their graveyard at least. Or there's an Endurance as well. I'll target your Endurance and attack for 5. Get back Nethergoyf. Just trying to add to this board at this point. Opponent's at 6. Nethergoyf. Haywire Might. Haywire Might cuts off Birthing Ritual and gives me my other Overlord back. I am at 26 cards in my deck, though. I gotta keep in mind that as my opponent's life total goes in chunks of 5, so does my deck total. They are Hellbent at low life, though, and I'm doing a lot. Oh no. Chargerless Agent. Alright, so this will be Birthing Ritual, which will be removed by me. Eilish Norn confirmed in the deck, but it's on the bottom half at this point. Can Subtlety afford to attack? That's the math my opponent's doing right now. They figured, whatever, here he comes. Alright, now I can Haywire Might because I'm trying to get F6 value. My clock and my deck are the 2 ways I could lose this game, I think. I don't think I can lose by playing Magic. Your opponent's at 9. I guess I'm going to... Do I have a bigger creature? Yeah, Nethergoyf's bigger than Endurance. Alright, I'm going to begin combat. Target, Troll of Khazad-dûm, that's way bigger as well. And it's hard to block. I have not done the math here, but I know it's bad for them. Just going to attack with everything. Maybe not the Witness. All right, everything except the Witness is attacking. No, I don't care. Witness can go in too. Overlord's going to get me a bunch of blockers. We got the GGs. Those were GGs. Redemption from my earlier handling by this deck. Now I know a little bit about it and was able to pick apart its real engine. I actually like our deck a lot, the Golgari value deck versus 4-color elementals, but I don't like it versus 4-color elementals that's dark ritualing 4 to 7 mana at every end step. Cool, on to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. Sorry if there is some noise in my background. There's some vacuuming going on in my hallway right now, and matches up, and this is not a deck where I can afford to wait 3 minutes for vacuuming to stop, so we're on. Okay. Tamiyo. This is why I kept the hand. It has 3 different powerful things to do on turn 1. And I'm going to push this little lady. Not as scary in Modern as she is in Legacy, but still very powerful. All right, is it something or other? Pinnacle Emissary. Uh-oh. All right. Well, if I knew this was a gear they had, I may have saved that Fatal Push. But, alright, that was not too bad, all things considering. Okay, I'm gonna Thoughtseize them and then play Nethergoyf. Another Emissary or Thoughtcast. Thoughtcast is not castable here. Kappa's a long way off. I think it's gotta be Pinnacle Emissary. And then I'll go basic Swamp for Nethergoyf. Start to conserve my life total a little bit here, but I do have a big baddie. They do have another Emissary in exile. If they just brick on a land here, they actually can't do anything, which would be really nice for me. I need a break. All right, that turns on the Thoughtcast. Not smoothly, like they do have to spend all their mana to do it, but that does get them in the right direction here. Soporific Springs taking the damage. All right, they want their flyer to be slightly bigger. Deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can play Kappa next turn. That's a scary card. I did not draw Thoughtseize. I can Rumble and still Overlord here. I could race Kappa with the Invasion. Yeah, I think I'm going to fetch Basic Forest. And then I'm going to Rumble into Overlord and see how big my Goyf is at the other side. Purr of Bones is another burst of damage. I'm going to take that. That puts an enchantment in the graveyard for Goyf. Play the Overlord. This gets back a second Emperor. Yeah, I'll get back second Emperor. Not that I think I need it, but attack. If they have an untapped land, they could actually hit me with Kappa this turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they equip the Lava Spur Boots. That's 6 damage. That changes the clock quite a bit. I'm actually bigger than Kappa Cannoneer with Nethergoyf, and I have the Invasion pivot. Yeah, it depends on how hard they come at me here. Though I do also have Emperor grabbing Troll, which forces them to block Nethergoyf with the Kappa. Yeah, I might not even need to combo them here. I have just massive damage. Okay, so another Emissary. They can Kappa. Yeah, this doesn't change anything I just said. Okay. All right, Nurturing Peatland. Emperor of Bones. Yeah, hit the Troll of Khazad-dûm here. They have to block the Nethergoyf with the Kappa. That is smaller than my Nethergoyf. and then they have to beat me with their drones. All right. Defeating a turn 4 Kappa Cannoneer in combat is nothing to sniff at. This Nethergoyf, I've been calling him out all league, MVP. And I have a second Emperor that can hit them with their own Kappa next turn, if I'm not dead right now somehow. There's still 2 emissaries out in the warp zone, but that won't save them, because I'll have an unblockable Kappa. It counts itself. It's a 5/5 unblockable the turn it comes into play. It doesn't usually have haste, though many people have tried to give it with Lava Spur Boots, and in my case, Emperor of Bones. Drones can only block flyers, if anyone is wondering why my opponent didn't block differently. That is the text on this token. Can only block creatures with flying. Okay, we've got an Emissary from Exile. An Opal generates 1 extra pal. They can equip that extra pal. They can attack me for 5 flying right now. They have another Kappa. That doesn't change anything. And they're Hellbent. Cool. GG. Enter the Bone Zone. Begin combat. Oh god, which one's which? Which one's which? Oh no. Okay, they're just conceding. I would have figured it out, but that is minutely stressful. Okay, Culling Ritual, the nuts. Collector Roof, the nuts. Pick your poison. In making them sack an artifact of their choice, unlikely to be effective, but a flyer could be pretty sweet. Oh, Meat Hook Massacre. I would happily massacre this opponent and their wall of drones. Yeah, there's a lot of gas here. Pick your poison could be devastating on like turn 1 or 2 if I can clip an artifact land with it, but if they get to just sack a drone, I don't think I'm going to mess around with pick your poison. That doesn't seem good enough. These all seem great though. Dothy Voidwalker, irrelevant. Oh, Haywire Might should be in as well. Haywire Might. Children's Edict. If you can clip a Kappa, that's just somehow in play by itself. Like, I guess Toxic Deluge, or more likely Meat Hook Massacre, because I would just Deluge for 5 or whatever to kill the Kappa. But Meat Hook Massacre combined with Edict could be a lot. Fatal Push kills Tamio and could clip the Emissary at the start of a chain. I think I'm a little lower on Fatal Push, especially with all this other removal coming in. I think I'm out on Edict as well. I talked about a situation where it would be good. That doesn't mean it's going to be good very often. Thoughtseize on the draw. If they have their nut draw, like this deck can kill on turn 2 if you basically just like have the cheat hand. That's Emissary, a bunch of zeros, Zoot out a Kappa. Next turn, like Thoughtcast, a bunch more zeros. Maybe turn 3 is more realistic. I wonder if there is a turn 2 nut draw in the deck though. Wouldn't surprise me. Vampire Hexmage. I think I can go 1 fewer of those. Emperor of Bones was pretty big there. It won the race. Nethergoyf also helped. I think I'm going to go -1 Thoughtseize, because after turn 1 or 2, I don't really want to cast that card anymore. And Grist. Actually, Grist seems insanely terrible. I'm going to switch Thoughtseize back in for Grist back out. All right, here we go. Lots of good cards for this matchup. I can tutor Collector Roof. All right, well, this is one of those hands that's really good but needs a second land. I'll try it. There's 21 actual lands, plus 2 Surveillance, 2 Trolls, and a Boggart Trawler. And once I unlock Rumble, we're just in business. If I can get to this Toxic Deluge while I still have any life points left, I'm going to feel great. If I draw a land on my first draw step, then I can Thoughtseize and almost guarantee that I'll have time to Deluge. Island, Pinnacle Emissary. All right, they might just be doing the thing here. How far are we going? Just one drone? That doesn't seem very good. I did not draw a land, which means I have to Surveil. I think that anything Thoughtseize could do here is less important than me finding my second mana to start rumbling and hitting the Deluge on time. Emery, quite strong. Urza's Saga confirmed in the deck. That is something that Pick Your Poison could affect. Drone beats. Emery is a standing draw engine with these baubles. All right, let's just look at another land right now and be done with it. Meat Hook Massacre, no! I want that card so bad, but it's not a land, it's gotta go. Land. What were you even worried about? Everyone's stressing in the comments. Just hold your horses. We were fine. We were fine the whole time. Okay, I will take Overgrown Tomb and lock up my next land. Culling Ritual to the bin. Culling Ritual, Meat Hook Massacre. Losing 2 of my most potent sideboard cards on my first or second turn of the game. Not ideal. But that's what Eternal Witness is for, right? Next turn, I could even Thoughtseize and Deluge, thanks to the spawn. if they're holding back a Metallic Rebuke or something. I kind of hope they just dump out this turn, like cast this Pinnacle Emissary, tap Emery, make a Bella, dump out a bunch more, cast Kappa, overextend. That's what I want here. I don't ask for much. Culling Ritual's a sicko. You don't get to play with this in Constructed very often. It's a CEDH staple. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Add black or green for each permanent destroyed in this way. It's a Wrath and a Ritual. 2 is a small number, though. The Emery, it already misses. The Pinnacle Emissary, it already misses. Emery targeting Springleaf Drum. That's really good for my Culling Ritual. Drum's in play. Tameo's in play. I might just call this turn instead of deluging. Drone's in for 1. I can't Thoughtseize into call, though. I can call into Thoughtseize. It does work the other way around. And they're not representing Metallic Rebuke. I don't like the Emery, though. Though I can call into Fatal Push Thoughtseize. I'll have 3 mana. I could go Fatal Push Thoughtseize or Fatal Push Emperor of Bones. I'm going to cast this Culling Ritual. It's time. Let's see some of this action in regular Constructed Magic. All right, triple black. Black, black, black. Fatal Push kills Emery. And I just want to use my mana most efficiently here. Maybe Overlord's better, but whatever. I'll take Emery. That's a backdoor Overlord for me. And this leaves Toxic Deluge in the mix if they find Kappa at any point. The re-Emery. Vampire Hexmage, not super helpful. There's no creatures I like in my graveyard right now, but Malevolent Rumble could change that. Rumble. Rumble did not change that. Right, I'll take Marsh Flats. My opponent has a Tameo in their graveyard. I'll fetch for Swamp. And I could exile Tameo, but I think I'd rather take Lava Spur Boots. That's the most unique artifact in their graveyard. And I guess I'll just attack for 2. Thoughtseize from this far behind doesn't feel great, but we're going for it. All right, yeah, okay. Hitting that Thoughtcast does feel great. Their hand is Emery, and I can impend Overlord and attack with it next turn. Nethergoyf, the only creature I've milled. I have 26 cards accounted for in my creature-heavy deck, but at least we hit 1. Can't complain too much. All right, Pinnacle Emissary is available out of exile, and then the Mishra's Bauble off Emery can make a drone. It can still do a bunch this turn because of Warp. Targeting Bauble. Oh, wow. Must have forgot you have a warped creature. Huh? Alright, not interested in a drone, it seems. Okay. That was almost certainly a mistake. There's nothing that changes that at all. Just when my opponent does something weird, I try to figure out why. And sometimes it could tell me what's in their hand or what their game plan is, but I think that was just a straight up oops. Okay, I would like this Overlord of the Baelmerk involved in combat. Hexmage, wake up Overlord. Start of combat, exile your, I guess it's Springleaf Drum. I wish I could get all these baubles out of the graveyard. Maybe I can over time. All right, I'll go for Bauble instead. I just don't care about Springleaf Drum. And you can't make me think that I do. Attack. Okay, some options here. Nethergoyf, Haywire Might, Hexmage. I'll take Haywire Might. If they block here, I'll just adapt. If they don't block, they'll take a bunch. And here I can go Nethergoyf, Haywire Might, Shockland, dumping the squad out. I don't think I care that Mox Opal's in play. I could respond if they have a third artifact somehow, if I think that like Stone Raining them is how I'm going to get out of this game. All right, the repeat Emery for the emergency mill. That hit Pitting Needle and another Bauble. Nothing new over there. Cool. Handled that one. The creature toolbox coming in clutch. Onto the final round, right? Yeah. Final round, 3-1. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive records locked. Bread and butter 4-1 on the line. Hand is solid. All right, are we up against the dreaded Boros energy? We certainly are. All right, I would rather have Fatal Push than Thoughtseize here, or even Nethergoyf, but I have none of the above. I'm going to have to take my medicine Thoughtseizing here and just hope that the game is salvageable on the other side. Discharge a Johnny. And Discharge could keep the cat running. The Raven Charm is kind of annoying versus my deck. A Johnny is an absolute unit. Like a Johnny makes every other thing into the same thing. Okay. Oh, Elegant Parlor is their land, though. What does that mean? That means I could take Galvanic Discharge and hope that they don't find untapped mana immediately to deal with the Bone Zone. All right, I'm taking Discharge. Yeah, this would have been a very good hand to be on the play against. Thoughtseizing the Ocelot Pride, their hand just doesn't do anything for a very long time. There's the Parlor. I hope they dump a Flage or something I can eat with for incredible value. All right, Cats off to you. Kept their card on top. I'll save some damage here and get a Forest. The Emperor of Bones enters. Exile Galvanic Discharge. Maybe that's supposed to be a Rumble turn, then I can play and activate Emperor next turn. But making them decide between flaging my Emperor and developing a Johnny is pretty serious here. Also challenging the Ocelot Pride in combat matters a lot. Okay. So here, if my opponent attacks... Ooh, the attack with the Ocelot Pride is aggressive. Alright, I'm going to block Ocelot Pride. I know this flips a Johnny. They don't have a red permanent, though. And I can try to push back here. Like, at least my Emperor of Bones is alive. 2-1 cat. Game on. Troll of Khazad-dûm kills a Johnny. Okay. I'm into it. I did not need to use a fetch land here. This is literally the text of Troll of Khazad-dûm. Whoops. Alright. Cycle Troll. I'll get a Overgrown Tomb in my hand. Combat. Target Troll. Wake up. Get my Troll. Attack a Johnny. And I'm going to leave my 4/4 back. Make them use the Thraben Charm to clear it if they want to keep attacking. Voice of Victory. Okay. We're chilling. We're out here. The game's grinding. If I want to take a gajillion damage, I could Thoughtseize the Thraben Charm out of their hand right now. I don't think I want to take a gajillion damage. Rumble finds Haywire Might. Not helpful. None of these cards are particularly helpful. I mean, Haywire Might could at least block or something. All right, I'll take Haywire Might for now. And then I'll take damage here to Malevolent Rumble again. I'm going to leave up black mana, though. Overlord of the Baelmerk. We're in business. How much damage am I taking next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. It's a lot of damage. But I think this is better. Overlord hits Hexmage. Or Troll. It's Hexmage for sure. Beginning of combat, exile the Ajani. And I cannot attack. I have to at least make them use the Thraben Charm instead of putting mana anywhere else. If they have the Goblin Bombardment, we lose. But that's always true against this deck. What's my passive life gain like? I have the Haywire Might. And that's about it. No Barrogoyf in this format. I have Meat Hook Massacre in the sideboard. But yeah, if they just go burn mode, I'm in some trouble. If they turn their squad sideways here, I think I'll just block Voice of Victory. I did mill over a Fatal Push on that last turn. I milled 5, 9, 13 cards last turn. So Eternal Witness for Fatal Push becomes a line. Wow, they just passed. Are they going to end step Thraben Charm me? Is that the plan, or are they worried about this Overlord suddenly? Okay, whatever just happened, I'm into it. Okay, Eternal Witness. I guess this could blow up my graveyard. I'll target Fatal Push. If they want to use Thraben Charm on this instead of on one of my creatures, I'm also okay with that. I am so scared of just getting burned out here. Either their hand can navigate all manner of tricky situation. Okay, they're exiling my graveyard. It's fine. That's a deal. Okay, do I want to attack with Overlord of the Baelmerk this turn? I don't think I can afford that damage. Thoughtseize. I don't think I can afford a Thoughtseize. I'm going to put Haywire Might in as some passive life gain, and I'm just trying to gum up the board now. Okay, I thought I was dead on this turn cycle, but instead we're still playing. And let's try to keep it going. Ragavan. That card seems completely irrelevant at this phase of the game. It is a red permanent for a future Goblin Bombardment, though they have Voice of Victory to provide those. Land number 3 unlocks Flage, so spot removal and helixes to the dome are now both things that I have to think about. Nethergoyf is not big, but it can be. Grist sacking Haywire Might killing Voice of Victory is like a big swing here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Grist, because I gain 2 life no matter how Haywire Might dies. Sacrifice a creature. Sacrifice Haywire Might, I gain 2 life. Destroy Voice of Victory. Play Vampire Hexmage. And is Nethergoyf worth 2 life? I think it is. It's big enough. I'm not winning this game by not attacking. So, who's going in? I think Eternal Witness is just going to attack here. That one dies the ugliest to a Flage. Cool. Yeah, trade. Deal. Especially cats. Let's get cats off the board. Ajani and Goblin Bombardment are now the cards I'm most scared of. Wow. Okay, I did not think that game was going to go like that. Even now, I don't think I'm safe. All right. Weird game, but I'll take it. Culling Ritual's in. Beathook Massacre's in. Toxic Deluge is in. Soulless Jailer does not stop Flage. Permanent cards can't enter the battlefield from the graveyard. They don't. You can cast... Flage enters from the stack even when you escape it. You cast it from your graveyard, then it enters from the stack. And it specifically says non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. Soulless Jailer was like custom built to not affect the Titans. Children's Edict hitting Planeswalker is not nothing. Stothy Voidwalker had one moment of excitement versus Living End, but has otherwise been mid. But in a creature toolbox package, it's okay to have something mid in the main, and then you just streamline it after board. I could just go 0 Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize did help me make a plan last game, but it's also reasonable to just play to the board versus this deck. Goblin Bombardment is the one big variable that I would really like to deal with in their hand before it does anything else. I have Trophy Decay Beseiju and Ritual that can mess it up once it resolves, but if they just bank it for a while and then drop it on the turn I'm dead, I hate that. Thoughtseize is pretty bad after turn 2 or 3, though. And my life total was my biggest fear. I could bring in another Haywire Might. That passive life gain as an answer to Goblin Bombardment checks 2 of the boxes I'm worried about here. Grist, once again, seems really slow for this matchup. Alright, I'm going to try it like this. I don't have a lot of faith in Children's Edict, but it does kill Ajani. Backside Ajani. Keep. I have removal starting on turn 2. Ooh, they didn't have a turn 1. Verdant Catacombs can access basic forest, and Troll of Khazad-dûm can access basic swamp. And that means I'm not getting Blood Mooned. That's something that these decks do sometimes. Guide of Souls. Did not have the instantaneous follow-up. Ocelot Pride, which is the sequence I was worried about there. Swamp Cycle. Swamp. Okay, Rumble guarantees Ritual next turn. Overlord banks some action. I could also hold up Abrupt Decay, so nothing too bad can go wrong, but I don't think this could go too wrong anyway. Haywire Might to the hand, land to the hand. I can also just put Nethergoyf in hand, but I'm going to Ritual next turn anyway. I'm going to grab Marsh Flats here and just make sure I have steady, unpainful basic mana to play with. It's nice of Magic Online to tell me all the information I need. There are 3 creatures and 4 card types, both of which are things that my deck cares about. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I can't Ritual the Fable. I can Ritual the Goblin. I could Abrupt Decay the Fable and bank this Ritual for later. I think I'm going to Bailmerk. Bailmerk can get back Haywire Might, which kills the Fable. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do it like that, which might seem strange, but knowing that I have this Culling Ritual in the bank, just dealing with this 3-drop, and a lot of the times hands are kept on the strength of Fables Chapter 2, and if they just kind of fall apart here, that's good for me. Flage, sure. Emperor of Bones will make quick work of that. They have 2 energy, nobody's jumping here. Culling Ritual can also destroy treasure tokens. Okay, so they would need a removal spell right now, specifically, to blow out this Emperor. And if they don't, they're blown out. Galvanic Discharge. I mean, I'll just adapt it now. That makes them spend 5 energy. And they do have it or spend 4 energy. Okay, they did spend what they needed. Flage has 3 things to eat over there. I think I have to ritual next turn, like it or not, it's time. Yeah, I honestly forgot they had energy in the bank there to kill the 4/4, or else I should have just left up Abrupt Decay this turn. That was not a good play. Tapped Sacred Foundry. Yeah, this kind of stinks because if I ritual, they can Flage, and I don't really have mana left to do anything about it. I could play Grist and hold up Shieldred's Edict, or Abrupt Decay. I could play Nethergoyf out of the graveyard, which also leaves up Decay or Edict. Is Nethergoyf better than Grist? Nethergoyf is currently 5/6. I would exile a land, a creature, and an artifact together, and a sorcery. That loses artifact and sorcery from the graveyard, and Goyf is 3/4. And I can play an instant at any time. That's how instants work. Okay, yeah, I think I actually do value the Goyf here. Exile Haywire Might, land, and Fatal Push. Okay, I have a 3/4 and a removal spell, but my removal spell will cost me 3 life to cast because I only have Overgrown Tombs left in the deck. Raven Charm, destroying my Overlord. Alright, Overlord's dead. That makes Goyf bigger. I'll take it. That means Flage is 1 away. Celestial Purge. Alright, well, Flage is coming. I'll just have to Abrupt Decay it after it arrives. Oh, that's not good. I'm committed to taking 6 damage this turn. Alright, I think I just have to take that. I'm not going to fetch Shock here. Yeah, that turn I adapted when I didn't need to is probably going to cost me the game. I end up at 3 here, which means the next Flage kills me anytime. I don't have to fetch, I guess. I will eventually have to fetch. Alright, I'm going to fetch now. I'll take my medicine and just accept that I played bad and deserve this. Alright, Underground Mortuary to the graveyard. Big draws. Alright, is my opponent gonna sack their treasures? They did not. Okay, so I got a lot more mana than I'm supposed to here. Alright, green, black, green, black, and black. I'm going to play Grist. I'm going to plus Grist. And I'm going to have my opponent sacrifice a non-token creature. And I'll play Overgrown Tomb tapped and hope that another Flage isn't the card in their hand. Marsh Flats. Yeah, the Flage in their graveyard isn't great for me either. I need to deal with that somehow. Plus Grist. Attack with a insect. They got 27 life over there. I got to get through somehow. Holding up Abrupt Decay doesn't save me from Flage, so there's nothing I'm playing around here. They could fetch, that's 2 cards in the graveyard. If there's a Surveillance left, that could guarantee 3. There's not a Surveillance. Great. I have 5 cards in my graveyard. This is 3 cards for Flage. I have so much graveyard hate. Can I just find some? Okay. We did it. I'm going to plus Grist here. And then I'm going to do it all right now. Invasion for 2 gets the Emperor of Bones out of my graveyard. Emperor of Bones exiles their Flage. Flage gains me 3 life. Then I'm not dead to their next Flage or the one that I can see right now. Just fire that immediately. And they don't want to play anymore. Yes. All right, cool. 4-1. Splitting against the Birthing Ritual deck, which seems like a heinous matchup. Not bad. I was really impressed by this deck last time, and I'm still impressed by it now. The Overlord activate it before you're supposed to strategies, whatever they look like, whether it's Felia or Hexmage or whatever else people are doing to do that, is great. An undeniable modern power level play pattern. Having a toolbox of hateful creatures, really nice. Like, I didn't get to tutor for Collector Oof this league. There was one match where my one of Dothy Voidwalker in the deck mattered. I tutored Haywire Might, I think, a lot. I tutored Soulless Jailer a lot. And having access to your sideboard cards more often, and especially when some of them are in your main deck, like this Voidwalker, Emperor of Bones, just great in the format. This might be the best Nethergoyf deck I've played in any format. This card gets so big so fast. You're even built around a battle, so you get that extra one that most decks don't get to even think about. The mana feels really good with the Trolls, which combo with both Emperor and Overlord, and to a small degree Nethergoyf. I think I want one endurance in the deck. Whether it's in the main or side can be fiddled with, but maybe this Dothy Voidwalker slot should actually be endurance. Those are obviously completely different cards that play at completely different timing windows. Like you can't Invasion of Ikoria for endurance in response to your opponent's combo, while Dothy Voidwalker might actually lock out significant things that are going on. But the self mill, when games get really grindy and you're at the point where you're afraid to attack with your Overlord, I think that is an easily fixable loophole. I'm not going to say it's a flaw, because not every game came to that. We just played 5 matches of Magic, and I think it was a concern once or twice. But it would be a concern 0 times if you had even one endurance in the deck. I'm going to leave this here. Mr. Toots, great job, great deck. This was a lot of fun. I love this kind of Magic, and I'm glad the deck did what it was supposed to do. I think we used almost every single card throughout this league. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.